Welcome to the Walk in Truth Christian Fellowship Church broadcast on the WITRN network. Come join us as we study the Word of God together. Go get your Bible and let's see what the Holy Spirit is saying to us today.
Heavenly Father, we come right now, God. We just thank you for your sacrifice, God.
Yes.
We thank you for dying on the cross for us. Thank you for protecting us from all hurt, harm, and danger, God. Heal our nation, heal our land, God. Help us see you more clearly, Lord. Help us hear from you more clearly, God. God, we know you're speaking to us, but we just have to listen. And we can see you through your word, God. So help us see you better. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
So when we left off, we're at the point in 2 Samuel, chapter
13, 11.
Well, we're in chapter 13, but when we left out of here, we were talking about David and Bathsheba, and how he met her and had a baby with her, and the baby died, and God proclaimed on 12 and 10, it said that now therefore the sword shall never depart from the house, because you despise me and taken the wife of Uriah and the Hittite to be your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so God proclaimed that on David because of David's not disobedience, but outright defiance, outright catering to the lust of his spirit.
All his passions.
Yep, his passions. And in this thing, we talked about it last week. This was on David. You can't blame it on the woman like Adam tried to do.
Right.
Because you made a conscious decision to do this. So before we start in chapter 13 is where we're going to start, I want to kind of give everybody a genealogy of the players.
Okay.
So we have David, and we have Nahum, which is his wife, who is the mother of Amnon, which is David's first son in line. And then we have Micah, who is Absalom and Tamar's mom, who's the daughter of the king of Jeshurun. So both Amnon and Absalom and Tamar are all half Jewish and half Gentile.
Okay.
So they, of course, we know that Tamar and Absalom are related, and we know the story how Amnon lusted against her, but that was his sister. But in their minds, they never hardly seen each other. It's not like they all grew up together.
Right.
They grew up in separate camps. So of course Tamar was a virgin, so he would see her every little once in a while, but not like I grew up with her. She's my sister.
Right.
I also want to talk about Shemiah, Shimeah, which is David's brother. And David's brother's son, Jonab, is going to be a key player in chapter 13. And he is David's nephew.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because they start the chapter off talking about a friend of Amnon talked to him. Instead of saying his cousin talked to him, because they're first cousins.
Right.
Because Shemiah is David's brother and David's son and Jonab are cousins. They're first cousins. So I just wanted to clear that up as well. I also wanted to go to Deuteronomy 22. And in Deuteronomy 22, I want to kind of establish some things so we can understand the laws that is concerning to this, okay? So if we go to Deuteronomy 22, these are the various laws. And one of the laws that I would like to talk about is 22 and 13. And 22 and 13 says, if a man takes a wife and goes to her and then hates her and accuses her of misconduct and brings her a bad name upon her. I took this woman when I came near her. I did not find her evidence of virginity. Then the father of the young woman and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of her virginity to the elders into the city of the gate. And the father of the young woman shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man to marry, and he hates her. And behold, he accused her of misconduct, saying, I did not find your daughter evidence of virginity, and yet this is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloak before the elders of the city, and the elders of the city shall take the man and whip him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels and a silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought a bad name upon the virgin of Israel. So we're going to put a pin on that, and we're going to go to 2 Samuel chapter 13. You know what? And I'm going to read some other things as well. I want to go ahead and just read that so we can kind of see. Deuteronomy 27 and 22. It says, cursed be anyone who lies with his sister, whether the daughter of his father or the daughter of his mother, and all the people shall say, Amen. And then we go to Leviticus 20. Verse 17 through 19, it says, if a man takes his sister, a daughter of his father, or a daughter of his mother, and sees her nakedness, and she sees his nakedness, it is a disgrace, and they shall be cut off in the sight of the children of the people. He has uncovered his sister's nakedness, and he shall bear his iniquity. If a man lies with a woman during, okay, that's it. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to keep on reading because it's important. If a man lies with a woman during her menstrual period and uncovers her naked, he has made naked her fountain, and she has uncovered the fountain of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off among the people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister or of your father's sister, for that is to make naked one's relative. They shall bear their iniquity. And then we'll go to Leviticus 18 and 9. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, your father's daughter, or your mother's daughter, whether brought up in family or in another home.
God knew it was coming.
God knew it was coming. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 13. And I read all these scriptures because they know better. Not Tamar, but Amnon knows better. So now Absalom, David's son, had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar. And after a time, David's son loved her. David's son loved her. So we saying Absalom and Amnon. Tamar is Absalom's full sister, and Tamar is Amnon's half sister. And says, and Amnon was so tormented that he made himself ill because of his sister's Tamar, for she was a virgin, and it seemed impossible to Amnon to do anything to her. Now that bothers me, that you lust so much for your sister and you didn't know what to do. What's wrong with you? But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother. So that was what I was talking about.
First cousin.
That's his first cousin. Why didn't I just say his cousin? But okay. And Gemini was somebody's at the door. And Gemini was a very crafty man. So he set this up. And he said to him, O son of the king, why are you so haggard morning after morning? Will you not tell me? And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. So he has disassociated himself from his sister. Because he says, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. As if that wasn't his sister. And Gemini said to him, well, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, let my sister Tamar come and give me bread to eat and prepare the food in my sight that I may see it and eat it from her hand. And so Amnon lays down and pretend to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king, please let my sister Tamar come and make a couple of cakes in my sight that I might eat it from her hand. Then David sent home to Tamar saying, go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for him. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and where he was lying down, and she took the dough and kneaded it and made cakes at his sight and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and emptied it out before him, but he refused to eat it. And Amnon said, send out everyone from me. So everyone was sent out. And then Amnon said to Tamar, bring the food into the chamber that I may eat it from your hand. And Tamar took the cakes she had made and brought into the chamber to Amnon her brother. But when she brought them near to eat, he took hold of her and said, come lie with me, my sister. And she answered, no, my brother, do not violate me. For such a thing is done in Israel. Do not do this outrageous thing. As for me, where could I carry my shame? And as for you, would it be one of the outrageous fools in Israel? Now therefore, please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you. But he will not listen to her, and bring stronger than she, and violated her and laid down with her. Now hold up now. She said she was trying everything, saying, let me go, let's go talk to daddy. Maybe daddy will let me marry you.
Right.
But don't take my virginity.
Right. Don't take the pride what made me honorable.
Yes. And that's why I read Deuteronomy 22. But let's go to Genesis 34, 1 through 7. And it says, now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had bore to Jacob, went out to see the woman of the land. And when Shinham, the son of Hamnar the Hivite, the prince of the land, saw her, he seized her and lay with her and humiliated her. And his soul was drawn to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. So Shinham spoke to his father Hamnar, saying, give me this girl for my wife. Now Jacob heard that he had defiled his daughter Dinah, but his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob held his peace until they came. And when Hamnar, the father of Shechem, went out to Jacob to speak to him, the sons of Jacob had come in from the field as soon as they heard of it. And the men were indignant and very angry, because he had done an outrageous thing in Israel by laying with Jacob's daughter, for such a thing must not be done. So if we go back, we find out who this man was, okay? Mm-hmm. And Jacob was safely to the city of Shem, which is the land, and his sons bought him 100 pieces. So basically, I'm not gonna go deep into that right now, but basically, that he defiled his daughter and was outrageous, unacceptable, took this woman's virginity all because he wanted to. Mm-hmm. And so we analyze that with what happened to Tamar. There's a note in the Bible that talks about this outrageous thing. It says, a wicked thing. Tamar appealed to Amnon for 4 reasons that he should not rape her. First, it was utterly deplorable act in Israel because it violated the law, and we read Leviticus 18, 9 through 11. Mm-hmm. And that Tamar knew that such an action could bring disharmony and bloodshed to the king's family. She knew as soon as her brother heard, he was gonna kill him. Mm-hmm. And it would bring shame to her family. Second, a fornicator, Tamar would be scorned as an object of reproach, even though she was resistant to the evil crime perpetrated against her, because the law says that both her and him should be killed. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then she said, and then it says third, Amnon would be regarded by the people as a wicked fool, God rejecting a man without principles who offended an ordinary standards of morality, thereby jeopardizing Amnon's right to the throne. So he basically did what he cut off his birthright. Mm-hmm. So if he hadn't died, he could have been king anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And fourth, Tamar appealed to Amnon to fulfill his physical desire for her through marriage. She surely knew that such a marriage between half-siblings was not allowed by the Mosaic law, but in the desperation of the moment, Tamar was seeking to escape the immediate situation. So the description that we're having is a rape. This was not consensual, and this was wrong. But this is what makes me mad. Let's go to verse 15. 2 Samuel 13 and 15. It says, then Amnon hated her with very great hatred, so that he hated with which he hated her was greater than the love which he loved her. And Amnon said to her, get up and go. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How you loved her, you defiled her, and now you hate her? Wait a minute. And that don't even make sense. So now it says, and she said to him, no, my brother, for this is wrong. And sending me away is greater than other than you did to me. So you gonna rape me and then shame me? Because now I got to go away. Mm-hmm. Nobody gonna touch me.
Right.
You gotta fix this.
Right. I can't get married.
Can't get married, can't be around nobody, can't do nothing. Mm-hmm. Because she's shamed. Because you took her birthright away from her. Right. And so, and took not only her birthright, she can't have no kids now. She can't have nothing. Right. What man is going to take her? Nobody. And so he said, but he would not listen to her. And he called the young man who served him and said, put this woman out of my presence, and barred the door after her. So not only did he defile her, he kicked the sister out. Right. Now she was wearing a long robe with sleeves, for thus were the virgin daughters of the kings dressed. And they talk about that's like the Joseph coats of many colors. She had on the royal colors. So now she defiled. So his servant put her out and bolted the door. And Tamar put ashes on her head and tore the long robe that she wore. And ashes is a sign of mourning. And she tore the garment because it symbolized that he ruined her life. Mm-hmm. And she laid her hand on her head and went away crying aloud as she went. And her brother Absalom said to her, has Amnon your brother been with you? Why would he ask that question? Right. Because he knew she went over there. Why is she crying? Mm-hmm. And he said, has been with you now. Hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this to heart. So Tamar lived a desolate woman in her brother's Absalom house, because she couldn't go nowhere else. Right. And when King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. But Absalom spoke to Amnon neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon because he had violated Tamar, his sister. Now, my question is, okay, David was mad. And one of my questions is, what do you think about David's non-reaction?
I think two things. The first, he may have looked at it as he got it coming to himself because he raped somebody else's daughter. And then when the prophecy said...
Now, hold up. You said he raped somebody else's daughter.
Yeah, he raped Bathsheba which is somebody else's daughter and wife.
They didn't characterize it as rape, but I get your point.
Yeah, she did get raped. He did that, and that violation. Now, one of his ewe lambs. Because think about how the prophet described her. She was a ewe lamb of the story he told, and took his precious ewe lamb. And David said that person should be killed, and then he turned around and said the person is you. Okay, so that which David did has now been done to him.
Okay.
So I think that's maybe the reason why he didn't respond with the law that he knew that he could respond with.
That he should have responded
That he
to.
should have responded with. But you see in the Bible, there's another occasion where Eli didn't discipline his sons.
Correct.
So yeah, I just think David, it is at this point, David like, okay, what up? Hey, I got to take this for the team. But he still should have done what he should have. You know,
he should have done something. Because this is the thing. I understand that women were not significant, but his son violated his sister. You knew about it. You angry. And you didn't do nothing. So now this is, and let's just be real about it. I see that you did something to my sister, and and you know about it, and you my dad, right? And you do nothing about it. Not only is Absalom justified for being angry at his brother, but at his daddy too.
Right.
Because you need to now I got to take care of Tamar my whole life. You ain't even say, come on, hey, I can find somebody to make somebody marry her. You ain't even try to resolve this. You just mad. And
you know, he could. Now, to show you how much love Absalom had for his sister, because legally speaking, he could have banished her too.
Correct. Yeah. But he knew that she did not. She went there because her daddy called her. She went there because her daddy said, come and take care of your brother.
Right.
Now, in my mind, David would have been like, well, why you want Tamar to come and you got all these servants? Why Tamar got to come and give you some food? But no, you taking your son at his word, okay, whatever. And so you defile this girl. Now she got to live in this house for nobody to see her, desolate and childless. Yeah. All because of his, correct, all because of your selfishness. Then not only did you defile her, you threw her out like she was like a common criminal, like she wasn't a king's daughter. Right. So the inaction of David, non-reaction, is twofold. It's like what you ain't doing nothing.
And see, that's where we talk about leadership. Leadership, you need to make the hard decision.
Right.
And indecision is a decision, and it normally never goes well.
No, because you needed to make. If somebody else had done this, they would have said, kill him. But because this was your son, you ain't do nothing.
And like you say, you could tell he valued the men
over the women.
Over the women. Because again, he never referred to her as it reads. She's referred to as Absalom's sister versus his daughter.
Right. Yeah. And he became angry because he violated his sister Tamar. Well, what about your daughter? Come on now. So, okay, I'm not getting emotional about it, but I'm really getting irritated. So,
well, also, David, he probably was just waiting for the other shoe to drop because he knew of the impending evil that was going to come upon him. So he was like, well,
and that's what
this is part of it.
And that's, yeah, but you still got to do something.
Right.
Just because you know the shoe going to drop.
You still, your responsibility to the nation supersedes your fault.
Correct.
What you did wrong.
Because you are the judge.
Right.
You are the person that God, at the God's own heart. So you need to do something. Yeah. God wasn't going to just let this go.
And God didn't take his rulership from him.
No. He gave him mercy. So you needed to do something. Even if he didn't kill his son, he could have cast him out and the next person in line to be king.
Yeah, give him some lashes or something.
Do something. Yeah. Should have killed him or banished him and say, you know what, now I'm going to strip you from your title. You can become a laborer because you defiled your sister. Something better than what you just did nothing and he get to live.
Yeah, be a servant in the king's house or die.
Now he get to live for 3 years. High on a hog, and Tamar in there and just dying every day. Okay, so after 2 years I mean 2 years. I meant 2 years. Absalom had a sheep shitter at Bezar, which means that they were finna take the hair off the sheep. And where it's near Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, "Behold, your servant has sheep shears. Please let the king and his servants go with your servant." But the king said to Absalom, "No, my son, let us not all go, lest we be burdensome to you." He pressed him, but he would not go, but gave him his blessing. Then Absalom said, "It's not. Please let my brother Amnon go with us." And the king said to him, "Why should he go with you?" But Absalom pressed him until he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Then Absalom commanded his servants, "Mark when Amnon's heart is married and with wine. And when I say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him, do not fear. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous, be vigilant." So the servants of Absalom did Amnon and Absalom had commanded. And then all the king's sons arose, and each mounted his mule and fled. So his brothers was like, "I don't know what you finna do, but I'm finna go. I don't know if you plan to kill us too or whatever."
Right.
So
and think about Solomon was in that group too.
Yeah, Solomon like deuces. I'd have been gone too.
I just pictured them getting on their little mules like,
hold up, look, we're just supposed to be here for this sheep thing. What he doing?
Okay, we kicking it.
And
we have a little party.
And now he dead.
Right.
So one of my question is, who else in Samuel killed by using others?
Who else is kind of killed by using others?
David?
Yep.
Yeah.
David he killed Uriah by using the
Joab.
He used Joab, and he killed Uriah by using Joab and the fair, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so that's another mirror.
Right.
So Absalom and David are almost the same person at this point, because you both defiled women, and you both killed somebody. David did it because he trying to hide his sin, but Absalom did it because he was defending his sister's honor.
Yeah,
so this is where the flesh in you be like, well, he was defending his sister's honor. So we've read in 2 Samuel where people was defending honor and they got to live, right? And nobody died. So my question is, what is the definition of manslaughter? And what is the definition of premeditated murder? So, and it's amazing how everything that we have in this earth is in this Bible. Mm-hmm. So, manslaughter, according to Numbers 35 and 15 says, we'll say this: the cities shall be for refuge for the people of Israel, and for the stranger and for the sojourner among them, that anyone who kills any person without intent may flee there. So we talk about the cities of refuge.
Right.
And the definition for us, the layman terms, is that a crime of killing a human being without malice, a forethought, or otherwise in circumstances not amounting to murder. So that one guy that killed their brother, remember the one who killed the brother, said, "Hey, stop messing with me."
Yeah.
That would have been manslaughter because he was defending himself.
Right.
Okay. Now, premeditated murder, if you go to Numbers 35, 19 through 21, it says, "The avenger of blood shall himself put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. And if he pushed him out of hatred or hurled something at him, lying in wait, so he died, or enmity struck down with his hand so that he died, then he who struck the blow shall be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him." So this is saying this. It's a difference when you
plan somebody's murder.
When you plan somebody's murder, and you murder them without thinking.
Right.
So the premeditated murder term for us is used to describe murder that was planned in advance and was carried out willfully. Mm-hmm. So we already know Absalom lie in wait, like according to the scripture, for 2 years, and then told his servants, "This is what we gonna do. We're gonna get him all full on this alcohol and kill him." That's premeditated murder. That was a plan. It was strategic. It was thought out. It made sense. Okay, so. So then now the brothers and ran, and we're gonna continue to read. We're gonna go back to we're gonna go back to 2 Samuel 13 and 23. No, not 23. Jesus. Oh, 30. Now while they were on their way, now the sons had fled. While they were on their way, news came to David, and Absalom had struck down all the king's sons, and not one of them left. I'm getting tired of these people giving poor information.
It's called fake news.
Yes, it's a whole bunch. This is not a new term. Right. This happened back in them days because they kept telling David false news. I'm like, I killed Saul. No, you didn't.
Right.
I did this. No, you didn't. Why y'all keep lying? People.
And the one who set them up, so they started this whole thing by telling Amnon how to do it, is the one who gave him the fake news. But I'm finna talk about that.
Yeah. It says, hold up. It says, and the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth, and all his servants who were standing by tore their garments too. Now you understand why David was like, okay, he knew in part of the prophecy that his family was going to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. So then, but Jadab, the son of Shimon, David's brother, said, "Let not my lord suppose that they killed all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon alone is dead. For by the command of Absalom, this has been determined from this day he violated his sister Tamar. Now therefore let my lord the king so take it in heart to suppose that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon alone is dead." Now this is the problem.
Yeah, thanks to him, right.
That you the one started this mess. It be your own family.
Take the heart. This was planned. Oh, then you gonna snitch on him. Yeah. This was planned from the time he got violated.
But you set this up. You went and told Amnon to rape his sister, your cousin. Right. So your first cousin, set everything in motion.
And then tell him, did you notice he left out the part that he set it up?
Right. He ain't tell nobody, oh, I told Amnon to rape Tamar. So I told my cousin to rape my other cousin. And now I'm going to give you the news as if I'm so good and bad. Now, mind you, they keep saying he David's brother, son.
Yeah. And then, again, besides this, think about it. He didn't necessarily tell him to rape her, but he did everything.
He said
He said, play like you sick.
He told him how to do it.
Yeah, lie, and you get what you want.
But this makes me think that you ain't done this before, sir. Because you too smooth with it. Why are you at the place every time something you got to tell the news or set up somebody? Why are you giving all this advice?
All right.
So now
enough you everywhere you ain't supposed to be.
Correct. And so now we're gonna go back because I want to make a point and I want to get to it. It says, but Absalom fled, and the young man who kept watch lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, many people were coming from the road behind him by the side of the mountain. And Janab said to the king, behold, the king's sons have come, as your servant said. So it has come about. And as soon as he finished speaking, behold, the king's sons came and lifted up their voices and wept, and the king and all his servants wept bitterly. But Absalom fled and went to Tamila, the son of Enhad, the king of Geshur, and David mourned for his son day after day. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. And the spirit of the king longed to go out to Absalom because he was comforted about Amnon since he was dead. Hold up now. Okay. Let me just go. I'm going to get to that point in a minute. Why didn't Absalom flee to a city of refuge?
Because he did the premeditated murder.
Correct. He did the premeditated murder, so he could not go to the city of refuge. And in fact, I think they was already in the city of refuge as well. But this is what God just showed me something. Now, hold up now, David. Hold up. You mourn for Amnon, but you happy that Amnon dead for real. The way I'm reading it, it says, so Amnon fled and went to Geshur and was there for Absalom was there and went there for 3 years, and the spirit of the king longed to go out to Absalom because he was comforted by Amnon since he was dead. So basically it's saying David wanted to do something to Amnon, but didn't do nothing. Absalom did it, and so he still loved his son, but he know he can't really go and condone his behavior.
Well, it goes back. Think about it. When he lost his son from Bathsheba, after he lost his son, he got up. So remember it says he knew his son was dead, he like basically let the dead bury the dead. I gotta live. So he's kind of repeating that with Amnon. Like, okay, he dead now, so ain't nothing I can do. So I might as well focus on who's living, which was Absalom.
I'm just like, dude.
So it's repeating itself all the
You
way
keep
down
repeating.
the line.
You ain't learned no lessons. But he still was a good man. I want to say that. But this right here, this chapter 13, is one of the best soap operas that you can watch, because there's so many players. You got the cousin being the puppet master, and all the players are acting, right? Okay, so chapter 14. Now Jahab, the son of Zeruiah, knew that the king's heart went out to Absalom. Now, we know that Joab is the person who's going out killing everybody, right?
Right, he's the king's general.
But we find out that he is the stepson of David, because he married Zeruiah, which is Joab's mama. So remember, we were talking about in previous classes, like, I'm wondering why he just don't let this person go. I'm like, why is he doing all this dirty work? Makes sense now, right? Because that's one of his wife's kids. So of course, people got influence, but I just thought that was a nice little fact. He wasn't David's son, but he was David's stepson, because he married his mama. Jesus, okay. And so Joab sent to Tekoa. Stacey, why don't you pick that up for me? Verse 2.
And Joab sent to Tekoa and brought from there a wise woman and said to her, pretend to be a mourner and put on mourning garments. Do not anoint yourself with oil, but behave like a woman who has been mourning many days for the dead. Go to the king and speak thus to him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. When the woman of Tekoa came to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and paid homage and said, Save me, O king. And the king said to her, What is your trouble? She answered, Alas, I am a widow, my husband is dead, and your servant had 2 sons, and they quarreled with one another in the field. There was no one to separate them, and one struck the other and killed him. And now the whole clan has risen against your servant, and they say, Give up the man who struck his brother, that we may put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed. And so they would destroy the heir also. Thus they would quench my coal that is left, and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the face of the earth. Then the king said to the woman, Go to your house, I will give orders concerning you.
Stop right there. So we go to Exodus 21 and 12. It says, Whomever strikes a man so that he dies shall be put to death. But if he did not lie and wait for him, but God let him fall into his hand, then I will appoint for you a place to which he may flee. But if a man willfully attacks another to kill him by cunning, you shall take him from my altar, and he may die. Whoever strikes his father or his mother shall be put to death. And whoever steals a man and sells him, and anyone found in possession of him shall be put to death. So right there, the reason why I read that is because basically she making it sound like, oh, they was just fighting and they accidentally killed each other, saying that that's what Absalom did to Amnon, because that's what Joab told her to say.
Right.
Which is not, it is a total it's not a misinterpretation, but a total lie of what actually happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then Leviticus, I find a lot of people just going up there lying to him. The famous Leviticus 24 and 17, for whoever takes a human life shall surely be put to death. So that's an eye for an eye. Whoever takes an animal life shall be making good a life for a life. And that's where you go with the eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And then Deuteronomy. So basically we're saying that we know Absalom should have been put to death for killing his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Amnon should have been put to death for raping his sister. And Absalom should have been put to death for killing his brother. And David should have been put to death for killing Uriah and raping Bathsheba, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole bunch of people should have been died. And then Deuteronomy 25, 5 through 10 says, if brothers dwell together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the dead man shall not be married outside the family to a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go into her place and take her as his wife and perform the duty of her husband's brother to her. So the reason why I'm reading that is because she said her husband died and there's no heir. Mm-hmm. And of course we know that about that already because and I'll let everybody read 25 verses 5 through 10 on their own, because we know that that's what happened with Ruth. They needed somebody to stand in the place to help, the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back to 2 Samuel chapter 14, and we're going to pick up at verse 9.
And the woman of Tekoa said to the king, on me be the guilt, my lord the king, and on my father's house. Let the king and his throne be guiltless. The king said, if anyone says anything to you, bring him to me, and he shall never touch you again. Then she said, please let the king invoke the Lord your God, that the avenger of blood kill no more, and my son be not destroyed.
That's a trick.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trick, because that's directly, we just read that. That was directly taken from the law. That's a trick that that Joab had him swore so he can save Absalom.
Yeah.
Because now that he is sworn it, right? Now he got to uphold it.
Right.
Go ahead.
Then she said, please let the king invoke the Lord your God, that the avenger of blood kill no more, and my son be not destroyed. He said, as the Lord lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground. Then the woman said, please let your servant speak a word to my lord the king. He said, speak. And the woman said, why then have you planned such a thing against the people of God? For in giving this decision, the king convicts himself, inasmuch as the king does not bring his banished one home again. We must all die. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. But God will not take away life, and he devises means so that the banished one will not remain an outcast. Now I have come to say this to my lord the king, because the people have made me afraid, and your servant thought, I will speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his servant, for the king will hear and deliver his servant from the hand of the man who will destroy me and my son together from the heritage of God. And your servant thought, the word of my lord the king will set me at rest. For my lord the king is like the angel of God to discern good and evil. The Lord your God be with you. Then the king answered the woman, do not hide from me anything I ask you. And the woman said, let my lord the king speak. The king said, is the hand of Joab with you in all this? The woman answered and said, as surely as you live, my lord the king. One cannot turn to the right hand or to the left from anything that my lord the king has said. It was your servant Joab who commanded me. It was he who put all these words in the mouth of your servant. In order to change the course of things, your servant Joab did this. But my Lord has wisdom like the wisdom of the angel of God, to know all things that are on the earth. Then the king said to Joab, behold now, I grant this. Go, bring back the young man Absalom. And Joab fell on his face to the ground and paid homage and blessed the king. And Joab said, today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord the king, and that the king has granted the request of his servant.
So stop right there. Did Joab do that because of Absalom, or Joab do that because of Joab?
Because of Joab.
I don't really think he cared about whether Absalom came back or not. But he knew David's heart. And so he wanted to find favor. And it's keep repeating. Everybody trying to find favor and trying to get close to David to get David to do things. That's the whole setup.
What I don't understand is to me, this is the funny part about all this. The king makes a ruling on a lie and has to stay on the ruling, but the liar doesn't get punished.
And that's the difference between what happened with Esther. Not Esther. Sorry, God rest his soul. Esther. Because remember, the dude, the guy made the king swear an oath and was lying.
Right.
He ended up dying. But Joab, once again, the slick person he is, gets away with stuff that nobody else could get away with. And I don't know if it's because his position and that he knows where all the bodies are buried.
Oh, he know all the dirt.
Correct. Or because he know his mama gonna talk into David's ear. I don't know. But he knows David well enough to know how to get to him. So that knowing that they know David is a man of his word, so David's not gonna go back on his word.
Right. Even faced with the fact he found out that he lied.
Yeah.
That he set this lie up through this woman.
Correct. And so now he said, "Oh, your sight." So let's go find out what happens next. Now let me ask this question: what should David have done? Because he still ain't acting. David could have said, "You know what? I made that pronouncement based on a lie, so I can retract that. Not only you and now Absalom gonna die, and you gonna die too."
He could have killed her
and her
and him
because she was talking too freely.
Right.
Like, well, who are you?
Right. You were willing to listen to somebody lower than me.
Right.
To come lie to me, who holds everybody's life in my hand.
Instead of you just coming,
this is like some Godfather stuff.
Right. Instead of you just coming to me say, "Hey, I know you missed Absalom. Won't you just bring him back? You the king. You can do whatever you want to do. But now you got to play these manipulative games.
Yeah.
All these relatives."
It's almost like you got to create a reason for mercy, and if you create a reason that's a lie for mercy, it's really not mercy because the truth has never been told.
Correct. So now he obligated to do this. So let's find out what happens on verse 23, 14 and 23, Stacy.
So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, "Let him dwell apart in his own house. He is not to come into my presence." So Absalom lived apart in his own house and did not come into the king's presence. Now in all Israel there was no one so much to be praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. And when he cut the hair of his head...
So let me make a point to that. Who else was so gorgeous? Saul. And both of them had the same type of spirit. Go ahead.
And when he cut the hair of his head, for at the end of every year he used to cut it, when it was heavy on him, he cut it. He weighed the hair of his head 200 shekels by the king's weight. There were born to Absalom 3 sons and 1 daughter whose name
That's
was...
5 pounds, I'm sorry. Just so y'all know. His hair weighed 5 pounds.
That's a lot of her.
That's a lot of her.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There was born to Absalom 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a beautiful woman.
So I want to make sure everybody's aware that this is not Tamar, his sister. He has a daughter named Tamar, and there's somebody else named Tamar in the Bible. So don't get them confused. Go ahead.
So Absalom lived 2 full years in Jerusalem without coming into the king's presence. Then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but Joab would not come to him. And he sent a second time, but Joab would not come. Then he said to his servant, "See, Joab's field is next to mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire." So Absalom's servant set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and went to Absalom at his house and said to him, "Why have your servant set my field on fire?" Absalom answered Joab, "Behold, I send word to you, come here, that I may send you to the king to ask, why have I come into Geshur? It would be better for me to be there still. Now therefore let me go into the presence of the king, and if there is guilt in me, let him put me to death."
So basically, Absalom said, "I'm tired of being here. What's the point of me being here if I can't be like I was before?
Right.
Either kill me or just pardon me, because I'm getting frustrated. How you gonna bring me back and I still ain't seen you?"
But that's Joab's fault, because Joab didn't tell him.
No, he ain't tell him. He just said,
"Come back and I'll let you know."
Yeah.
Hey, don't call me, I'll call you.
Right. He didn't tell him that if you come back, your dad still don't want to see you. And David was right for that. Like, because what was it? The movie called Harriet, where her father said, "I can't look at you, so when they ask me, I can honestly say I didn't see you." So David basically saying that if I don't see you, I can't. It won't look like I'm condoning what you did.
Right.
Hear no evil, see no evil. I know you hear, but I ain't finna say nothing. Go ahead, finish it up.
Then Joab went to the king and told him, and he summoned Absalom. So he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom.
All is forgiven. So this should be the end of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my daddy forgave me. Now we're going to live happy ever after.
Right.
Not when we come back next week. We're going to be in chapter 15. And we're going to see about Absalom and God's prophecy being fulfilled. Heavenly Father, we come right now, God. We ask you for safety. We ask you for truth. We ask you for deliverance from our lives to ourselves and to others, God. We ask you for right now, God, to heal our bodies, to heal our spirits and our minds, God. God, watch over those who are grieving, those who are depressed. Let them see your light, God, and let them get out of the depression, because you are a healer, you are a way maker, and you are a mind clearer. So we ask you right now to keep us and guide us, and everybody that's here representing, everybody that's watching. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to the Walk in Truth Radio Network broadcast. If this message has been a blessing to you, consider donating on your favorite platform. You can donate by looking in the description box and picking your favorite platform of choice, Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. Continue listening. And your prayers are needed, welcomed, and appreciated.
Come join us at our new location, 3006 North Lindbergh Boulevard, Suite 711, St. Louis, Missouri, 63074. Broadcast time 8:30 a.m. on Sunday and 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays.